There comes a time in every man's life where he decides, I'm gonna make a mac and cheese pie. But I want the crust to be the most delectable, delicious crust you've ever had. The biggest, best slices. The cheesiest pools. Most epic mac and cheese pie. You can sit back and tell yourself, I don't need mac and cheese pie. But answer me this. Do you need mac and cheese pie? And you could fight with me about why does there need to be a crust, and I'll just say, why does there need to be breadcrumbs? Well, you can't make this mac and cheese without compound butter. But that's okay, because I'm going to show you how to make compound butter. And you can't make this mac and cheese without frying. You know, I should have made it different, in a different pan, but I'm going to show you how to make it. And you can't make this mac and cheese without laminated compound butter pie crust. But I'm going to show you how to do that too, the whole lamination process. And you can't make this mac and cheese without shredded pork, but I'm going to show you how to make that too. Just stay tuned, it's coming up. And you can't make this mac and cheese without some mistakes. To make this mac and cheese, we're going to start with the compound butter. These are the ingredients you're going to need. Butter, garlic, shallots, honey, nutmeg, olive oil, and thyme. I'm gonna start by cutting the tops off the garlic. You want garlic that looks like this. If your garlic has little green centers like this, it'll still work, but it'll be bitter. I had plenty of this garlic. I wish I had more garlic where it looked like this. Remember, bitter isn't bad, it's just a little more bold. I'll be removing the ends and outer coating from my shallots, just so it's a little, I don't know, because I want to. I have no idea why. I just have always done it this way, so I'm going to keep doing it this way. The compound butter we're making is to go in between a pie crust lamination. So in order for it to stay in there, we need a high sugar content. But we don't want it to be sweet. We want it to be savory. So by adding a little bit of honey to the sugars that are going to cook down from roasting the shallots and the garlic, we'll be able to achieve a much thicker suspension. Did you know in the old days they used to roast onions next to the battlefields because it looked better for pictures, you know? People were just a hell of a lot tougher back then. You couldn't have all the people on the freaking sidelines looking like they were happy. They had to look like they were crying. They had to make it look good for people of the future because, you know, people of the future were only going to have one life. You know, they're sitting here with instant reincarnation, like freaking right back to life. Just a fun little totally true story about the origin of onions and how they used to be cut and then roasted on the battlefield. You could even fact check it. I wouldn't look it up though, because it was like most of the information was lost in like mud floods. And now I want you to take a little bit of time to appreciate me putting this into the oven. I don't think you took enough time to appreciate me putting this in the oven. I mean, look at that thing. Freaking wobble. Do you see it wobble? You need to appreciate every little part of my movements right here. I'm going to play it again if you don't. Okay, well, I can see that you're more appreciative now. Now that our garlic and shallots have been cooked for about an hour and a half, we're going to unwrap them to unlock that beauty. Now remember, my camera is a little bit dark, so these were more of a golden brown, not so dark. I'm going to run them through this strainer thing coarse strainer, not necessarily a fine strainer, because I found it to be a little easier. Get all that nice goop out, and I'm just gonna mash this goop slowly, fold in a little bit of sugar, and then I'm gonna fold in my butter. But in order to fold my butter better, I'm gonna chop it. I'm gonna chop the butter in tiny little pieces that are choppable, and I think I need a fork now because they're too small, so I'm just gonna normal folding. Fold however you want. There's no folding wrong way or folding right way. It's all foldable in my book. Once you get it all folded up, you can make yourself a little smush tower. But don't forget to taste it, because freaking good. It's really freaking good. And we're just gonna put that on some parchment paper now, so we can smoosh it down into a little plate. A plate of compound butter. And that plate, we're gonna pleat in between like 2 folds of dough. Next up, we're gonna be working on that dough. And this is just the first part, the first lamination. You're gonna need some active dry yeast, some brown sugar, some salt, some milk, and your flour. I'm gonna start by heating a little bit of water up. We want our water to be exactly 110 degrees. Any more or any less, it's gonna be a big problem. No, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I think you can go up to like 120 degrees, it doesn't matter. Just put a teaspoon of sugar and 4 teaspoons of hot water, and you'll get a yeasty paste. Don't forget to add 2 1/4 tablespoons of yeast though. Next, I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to mix them up, add some flour. This is going to be 3 cups of flour. Whoa, 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 that is way more than 3 cups of flour. Okay, yeah, just use a spoon to put it back in. That's still 4 cups of flour. I don't think that's the most efficient way to return the flour. Still not right. Well, I guess that's close enough. Once you have something that kind of resembles 3 cups of flour, move on to your butter. Now, most pie recipes call for little pea-sized shapes of butter. No. You want thick, chunky, long, girthy pieces of butter. I don't want no choti butter in this recipe. It's gotta be the right butter. If it's not the right butter, get better butter, okay? You want thick curls of butter. Coat them with flour so they don't melt and stick together, and plop them directly into your flour. You don't want to break them either, you know? So you use a frozen metal spoon. It's very important. Frozen metal spoon. Don't break your butter. Make sure your milk is cold. I added a 1/2 cup of milk to the yeast mixture we made earlier. And that's gonna hydrate our dough and make it more workable. But this is a dry dough. This is not gonna be easy to work. It's gonna go everywhere. And you're gonna have to freaking deal with it, okay? I dealt with it when I made the recipe, so you deal with it while you make the recipe. It's worth it, trust me. No, it really is worth it. It's like, wow, if I could explain how much worth it was. So this is our first lamination process. We're gonna take everything out of the bowl, and it's pretty important that you only push everything in one direction at this point. Like, we're gonna cut it, we're gonna fold it, but you better be damn sure you do not actually fold it, or flop it, or turn it. It has to be one direction, and that's gonna create lamination with just the butter. So this is gonna give us a lot of flake, but this isn't gonna give us that inner core that we're looking for. This is just the start, so you wait. There's 5 more dough processes to go, and this is only the first step. So this is a yeasted dough. It's gonna rise, but we want to stop the fermentation mildly until we're ready for it. We want to put all our laminations in, so we're gonna wrap it up and put it in the fridge for about an hour. Well, you've made it this far. I think you deserve a medal. Don't worry, this next recipe is gonna be very, very relaxing. I'm just gonna take a bunch of water, like 4 cups of water. It doesn't even matter how much water. I mean, it kind of matters because you don't want to overflow your container. We're gonna add a 1/4 cup of salt to it. So whatever size water you have, you can do the math. It's easy. It's a relaxing part of the recipe though, so just, maybe just use 4 cups of water so you can use a 1/4 cup of salt. It'll be a lot more it'll be more relaxing, I promise, okay? So stir it up nice. Look at that flame. Now we're gonna pour it into a basting pan. I don't think this is a basting. I don't even know what a basting pan is. Shut up. And once you get all the water in that pan, I'm gonna add some cold water. Like another 4 cups cold water. It makes sense in my brain. Get some honey, some thyme, some Worcestershire sauce, some apple cider vinegar, and I really want a pickle. The pickles are not for this recipe, but you do need nutmeg. Look at how beautiful the ingredient. Oh, I forgot to put salt on there. So you're gonna put honey in the water. It's the most beautiful honey you've ever seen, right? I mean, it doesn't look like worms at all. I mean, I should have probably put it in the hot water before I added the cold water, and it wouldn't look like worms, but we'll just stir it up. It'll be fine. Totally fine. Yeah. Get that nice and sloshed around. Add some Worcestershire sauce. Little plumpy puddle of Worcestershire sauce. Swipe over with a freaking spatula. Get some nutmeg in there. So relaxing, isn't it? Oh my god! I wanted to put a whole piece of nutmeg in there. Don't worry about that. Put some cayenne pepper in there. And some salt. That's the cayenne pepper. And some thyme. And I'm gonna put some apple cider vinegar, about like 1/2 cup. I'm just gonna pat it together. Give it a nice, good pat stir. And I'm kind of thinking that I should have had a way bigger container for this. But it's okay. I'll clean it up. I mean, oh my god! That didn't work at all. It'll be fine. I'll just press it down and oh shit. Maybe if I was better prepared. I'm just gonna murder this now. I'm done with it. I don't like it. And don't forget to cut in the quantum vertical horizontal plane of pork, or it's not gonna be juicy. And just clean it all up. It's fine. Get ready, cause we're about to put our compound butter smushed in between our dough. Look at that compound butter. It's a beautiful mix of onions and shallots and butter. Now take special care of this. I'm not really sure exactly how it works, but I'm pretty sure you birthed this. I mean, there's yeast in it, right? So it's kind of like you gave birth to this living freaking creature that's now just be gentle, It's like your baby. It's your baby that you're eventually gonna squeeze with a freaking roller. And just put some flour on there so it doesn't stick. Make sure it's all comfortable and warm. And well, actually you don't want it warm because then the butter will melt. So make sure it's all cold. Put some force it to it, smush it, smush your baby, smush your freaking baby, okay? And it's gonna taste really good, okay? It's gonna taste amazing. Just make sure you smush it down in one direction, and when you get it smushed enough, we're gonna take it and make it look pretty, because you have to make it look pretty, dress it up. It's your freaking baby, okay? But eventually you're gonna cut it in half. This is a big step, It's like kind of like sending your dough off to get smushed with his best friend in a freaking smushing device, okay? And there's like some kind of like smooth cream in between both of them before they get smooshed, okay? So we're just gonna put our compound butter in between it, flip it over. We're gonna do like 1 or 2 cotton folds, but we don't want this to warm up. We want it to stay cold because we don't want fermentation. We don't want those bubbles to make it rise yet. And we want to make sure our butter doesn't smush out when we roll it out. So we want to chill it again. We're gonna chill the baby, put it in the fridge for about an hour, and then we're gonna go on to the third step, okay? Wrap it up. After our pork is brined overnight, we're gonna add it to our pan to get a sizzle going. I'm gonna start by sizzling both ends, and then I'm gonna sizzle all sides, moving it constantly. This pan is extremely hot. I just gotta keep it moving. I'm gonna use the sides of the pan. I'm gonna use the bottom of the pan. I'm just basically trying to caramelize the outside of this pork to lock all the flavors in when I add some juices, put it in the oven. So right here, I'm gonna add some balsamic vinegar. Yeah, and that's gonna release some of the flavor off the bottom of the pan. Really help add a nice flavor. But we need something to carry the flavor. And what's better than peppers? Peppers, we'll cut them up quick because, prep them on why it's going. You don't have to do everything before you do anything. So yeah, you just, why it's cooking. Oh. No, don't look at that side. Yeah, on a second thought, maybe you should prep everything before you even start a recipe. Like completely. And then you just glaze it with honey. And that honey is gonna lock in the flavor, lock in that juiciness, and add nice sweetie tenderness to the meat. I also added thyme, salt, pepper, a bay leaf, a little bit of cayenne pepper, and some parsley to this recipe. Remember how I said prep beforehand? Well, I would add a whole onion, but I only had a quarter, so yeah. And now you're gonna add some stock, get it all nice and juicified. And this is why you always prep beforehand, because oh my god, I almost forgot the garlic powder. Don't forget the garlic powder. And I'm gonna put this in the oven at 325. 4.5 hours. Now we're gonna get our surface ready because we're about to pull out our dough baby. Actually, you know what? This is more of like a dough homunculus. Let's pull our dough homunculus out of the fridge and we're gonna roll it flat. Maybe it's an abomination at this point. It needs to be flattened, split, and then folded into quarters. Cut it into quarters and then put it on top of itself. Look at those freaking layers. All those layers caramelized. Okay, I think it's earned baby status again. I know it's kind of a mutant thing, but I think it's still a baby. Wrap it up and put it in the fridge for an hour. After 4.5 hours, I'm gonna taste it to make sure it's done. Oh my God, it's good and done. So I'm gonna take an immersion blender and blend up all these peppers in the bottom of the pan. And once it's good and blended, I'm gonna pull my pork, which should pull really nice and easy, as long as it didn't go above 200 degrees. So once you get it all pulled, you're gonna smush it and mix it around into that liquid and let it set. And it's gonna soak in real nice. Flavor that pork, kind of like a Carolina sauce, but not complete. It's my own peppery blend of spices and herbs. It's good. You know, one day, your little dough baby, it's gonna grow up. And you can still smush it. You can still smush it. Got it. You can fold it, but it's gonna leave. It's gonna have to go into the oven, get baked. And it's okay, because you know, those layers look amazing. They're like the freaking. One more time in the fridge. I think this is like almost the last step. You know, you made it far in this video. You must really want this mac and cheese pie. Well, okay. You're gonna take a cup of mozzarella cheese, a cup of Havarti cheese, preferably shredded, to make 2 cups. That's 2 cups of each, don't question it. And then the rest of the 4 cups is gonna be cheddar cheese. So once you get all your shredded cheddar cheese on top, you can transfer it into a different bowl because you're gonna need this measuring cup. And it's actually liquid. It doesn't matter. I like to blend my cheeses for continuity. And we're gonna really mix it up well. And then I'm gonna hold a pot of water while filling it to get our macaronis nice and boiled. So I'm gonna turn on my stove and add in a little bit of salt. Add in a little bit of salt. There we go, a little bit of salt. Wow. Yeah, I get a little bit of salt. And then in a separate pan, I'm gonna heat up some butter. And then I'm gonna add in some flour. And I'm gonna stir it to make a roux, but I didn't add enough butter, so I'm gonna add some oil too. Yeah. Look at how nice that oil looks. Add it to the pot until we get a nice bubbly roux. And now I'm gonna add 4 cups of milk slowly. Very slowly. And I didn't have 4 cups of milk, so this is actually 2 cups of half and half, 2 cups of milk. And as it thickens, I'm just gonna keep on adding it to control the thickness. I'm putting a little thyme in here, a little bit of onion powder, some salt, and I'm gonna add some nutmeg, but I couldn't find my little grater thing. So this is actually nutmeg powder. So once it gets thick enough, because I'm gonna add the macaroni to my boiling liquid because it started to boil first. Once it gets thick enough, I'm gonna start adding in some cheese. Keep adding in that cheese slowly. And I'm doing kind of a slow stir here. I know it looks like I'm going fast, but I sped it up. And once I temper the milk with cheese or whatever the hell you call it, I'm gonna add it all in, and very slowly just stir it until it breaks in. Now my noodles are done. I'm gonna strain them, and now I actually immersion blended my sauce because I thought it would make it creamier, and it did. But I didn't like how creamy it was, so I added like another 2 cups of mozzarella. By this point, your little mutant baby should be nice and squishy, because even though it's been in the fridge, that yeast is still doing its job a little bit. So we're gonna squish it down, And the reason we're putting it in the fridge is because every time we put it in the fridge, we harden that butter back up, giving us a little bit more time to roll it out and laminate it without our butter melting and squeezing out the sides. Because rolling creates friction, and friction creates heat. So that friction is going to create heat and heat up your butter. So you only have a limited amount of time to do these laminations before your butter gets warm enough to squeeze out the sides. This is my last lamination before I roll it out into an actual pie dough. So I'm going to put it in the fridge for about an hour and a half and let it get real nice and cold. You want your pie lamination, your macaroni and cheese, your pulled pork, you want it all done at the same time. That way you can put it together and put it in the oven. You don't want your mac and cheese sitting for very long because the emulsion will break. And that'll create an oily, clumpy mess with some cheese and some oil. But it's not as flavorful or as good as the original. So once you get everything rolled out, and remember this is a huge pie, so I'm rolling out a huge piece of dough. You're going to roll it up, fold it back, so you can unroll it onto a pie dish. Once you got your placement correct, you're going to go around the sides and cut off the excess or pinch off the excess. I chose to do a little bit of both because I want the sides exposed to expose those flaky layers. And I'm also wrinkling in and adding some of the leftover dough underneath to create like a thick top side crust. That way when you get to the ends, you get a real nice big cracker of pie crust that acts as your breadcrumbs normally would on a traditional mac and cheese. Once I get everything laid out, I'm going to set this aside, covered, to rise for about 2.5 hours. The time has finally come. We're gonna blind bake our pie crust, so let's just put it, oh my god, I forgot there was yeast in this. And now we have a very risen pie crust where the sides collapse because for some reason I didn't use weights. So I'm just gonna add my pulled pork and kind of smush it down in. And wow, would you look at that, the sides are coming back up. It looks like that air that's trapped in our dough is working for us right now. And I think the more weight I add to this pie, the more it's gonna reshape itself naturally. So let's just do this thing. Gonna add in some mac and cheese, we're gonna add in some mac and cheese. Yeah, get that nice cheesy, pooly mac and cheese into our pie dough. I baked this at 350 degrees for about 45 minutes or until the crust was golden brown. Once it comes out of the oven, let it rest for 15 minutes so that everything sets, or it's just gonna fall apart when you cut it. This mac and cheese has a flavor that kind of evolves as you eat it. The crust is flaky and has a very interesting texture with a very little bit of sweet, but mostly savory flavor. Kind of like a really good cracker, stacked on top of a cracker and smushed down. The mac and cheese has a perfect blend of nutmeg and thyme where you don't even really taste it anymore, it's just nice. And the pulled pork is a nice kind of Carolina sauce that pulls both flavors together nicely. Overall, I would give this dish a 9 out of 10. Only being a 9 out of 10 because it took me almost 2.5 days to make the whole thing. I would definitely make this again. Do I want to put the time into making it again? No, but it was worth it. I'd probably do it again.
Really good mac and cheese. See? When you go through the crust, you can hear it. Probably can't see it. There's like actual flakes, like layers of flakes. I don't know if it's worth like 2.5 days or 1.5 days, however long it took, but it's really good. Like, pulled pork is like perfect. Crust is perfect. The mac and cheese is amazing, but use just a tap bit of salt. I'd probably make it again.